There is a new COVID conspiracy, and the brain-dead former President Donald Trump is pushing it. The conspiracy goes like this. Democrats are bringing back COVID to, quote, rig. What? To rig the 2024 election. Does this make any sense? Well, let's dive into it. For context, this is something that Trump has been pushing for a little while. Here was one of his direct-to-camera video blogs on Truth Central, where he said they will not comply with the COVID tyrants wanting to take away our freedom with lockdowns. If this sounds insane to you, it's because it is. But here's a reminder of Trump's video. We looked at this several weeks ago at this point, I think it was.
The left-wing lunatics are trying very hard to bring back COVID lockdowns and mandates with all of their sudden fear-mongering about the new variants that are coming. Gee whiz, you know what else is coming? An election. They want to restart the COVID hysteria so they can justify more lockdowns, more censorship, more illegal drop boxes, more mail-in ballots, and trillions of dollars in payoffs to their political allies heading into the 2024 election. Does that sound familiar? These are bad people. These are sick people we're dealing with. But to every COVID tyrant who wants to take away our freedom, hear these words: we will not comply. So don't even think about it. We will not shut down our schools. We will not accept your lockdowns. We will not abide by your mask mandates. And we will not tolerate your vaccine mandates. They rigged the 2020 election, and now they're trying to do the same thing all over again by rigging the most important election in the history of our country, the 2024 election, even if it means trying to bring back COVID. But they will fail because we will not let it happen. When I'm back in the White House, I will use every available authority to cut federal funding to any school, college, airline, or public transportation system that imposes a mask mandate or a vaccine mandate. Thank you very much.
So as a reminder, to the extent that we had lockdowns in the United States, which we really didn't, but okay, to the extent that we had policies that some characterize as lockdowns, we had them under Donald Trump, and it's quite rich that now Trump is warning us about forthcoming lockdowns under Democrats when it was Trump who locked down and it was Biden who unlocked. Part of it as a result of timing, certainly, but that there's a little bit of absurdity to Trump warning us about the very thing that he is the one who actually did. Fine. So he did it in his vlog. Trump then repeats this general idea during his South Dakota rally over the weekend, which we covered. Take a look at this.
Congressional Republicans should also stop the Biden administration from bringing back COVID mandates, lockdowns, or restrictions of any kind by cutting off the money. And in your state, because of your governor, you're not going to have that problem, but a lot of states do. The radical Democrats are trying hard to restart COVID hysteria. I wonder why. Is there an election coming up by any chance? You know, I saw just the other day for the first time, we're thinking about masks again. I said, what's going on? Oh, that's right, there's an election coming up. No, these guys, they'll do anything. But we can't comply because it's bad. And just follow your governor, follow your governor.
So there's the same idea. And this has now gone beyond Trump. This is now something that many Republicans are adopting. It's the part of the fear-mongering status quo that they love. On Fox and Friends, Pete Hegseth was arguing that Kamala Harris is sending messages about how Biden-Harris will win in 2024 because they're going to use COVID tricks. COVID tricks. Look at this.
Win re-election. There is too much at stake, and the American people know it.
That's good philosophy.
We will win.
You can read it one of two ways, right? It's like a quarterback at a pregame press conference saying, we got this, you know, like confident about it. Or you can read it more ominously, the ways that others have spoken, which is, you know, there is too much at stake.
The die has been cast.
People know it. The die has been cast. We will win re-election. Too much is at stake. That's, I think, this creeping sense that so many Republicans have through these indictments and everything else is COVID 2.0, 3.0. What tricks will they pull out of their bag to make sure we save democracy?
When y'all watch the interview, what comes to mind? I mean, I noticed that she seemed a little bit calmer. She wasn't the cackling, the laughing. It just seemed like she was more just like milquetoast.
And then Michael Knowles from the right-wing Daily Wire, also jumping on this bandwagon, says that there is a ruling elite that are preparing to rig the election by doing COVID again. We're going to do COVID again. What exactly does that mean? It's always a mystery, but let's take a look at what he had to say.
While the ruling party is arresting and imprisoning the political dissidents with these huge sentences for meandering around the Capitol on January 6th, often being led in by police officers, sometimes not even being in the city on January 6th. Well, that's going on. That same ruling elite is also preparing to rig the election by doing COVID. Again, the exact same thing that they did last time, only here there's a little twist. While Lionsgate is leading Hollywood in bringing the masks back, while Morris Brown College in Atlanta, Rutgers University, while they're beginning to bring the masks back, you're hearing some talk of more vaccines, more masks. Dr. Fauci goes on CNN and shockingly is grilled by the CNN host over the failures of his predictions and the inadequacy of the public health measures that he was peddling for years during COVID.
All right. So, I could give you a ton of these, truly. And there's sort of a multi-layered analysis that is important here. Aside from being obviously untrue that there is a concerted effort from Democrats to lock down the country in general. And so if you look at mask mandates returning, COVID guidelines returning, all sorts of stuff like that, you find that there's a handful of places, including in particular hospitals that are filled with sick people, that are saying we are either now recommending or we're going to a policy of masks in the hospital. I'll be honest, that seems pretty damn reasonable. In fact, I have my daughter's pediatrician appointment coming up. I'm not wearing masks anywhere at this point. I plan to wear a mask when I go to the pediatrician because there are sick people everywhere. And I as the pediatrician comes in from doing a strep swab next door and a COVID test in the next room over, I think I'm going to wear a mask for the 15 minutes I'm in there. The hospital thing seems logical. But beyond that, there's no big wave of lockdowns coming. But the most important thing is that bringing back COVID restrictions wouldn't help Joe Biden. It would hurt Joe Biden. So at its core, the conspiracy theory makes no sense. If you bring back so-called COVID lockdowns, it would hurt the economy. It would anger people. It would make people say, oh, Biden's president and it's all coming back. Biden must be doing something wrong. Why on earth would you do it? Now, if you press a lot of the right wingers on this, what they'll say is the useful part to Democrats is if you bring back all the lockdowns, then you use it to justify vote by mail, which is how Biden rigged it in 2020. The problem is, for the most part, there is still vote by mail and absentee ballots already. And if you were determined to use those mechanisms to rig the election, for which there's no evidence, you already have the ability to do it. Obviously, I don't think you'd get away with it because when people try to do this stuff, they actually get caught. But you don't actually need to bring back any restrictions if that's your plan anyway. So at every level, it doesn't make sense. And then lastly, bringing back COVID lockdowns could suppress turnout just by making people depressed and demoralized. Like it just doesn't make sense. It's not a winning strategy. None of it is good. You can lastly make the case that one of the big reasons Trump lost in 2020 is that he did not control COVID. His COVID handling is seen as a failure, widely speaking. And the fact that Joe Biden could do the same thing to win makes no sense. Trump was seen as a failure on COVID and it helped him lose. But Biden is going to, in a sense, admit failure by saying we need new restrictions. But for Biden, it'll help him win. It doesn't make any sense. They're grasping at straws. They have nothing, but this is what they're doing. One of our sponsors today is Zippix Nicotine Toothpicks. Zippix brings you a convenient alternative to smoking and vaping End the vape clouds, the ashtrays, the thing in your lip that people can see. I've seen that around. This is an easier and less messy way to curb the cravings, and you can use Zippix just about anywhere. Zippix is available in 6 flavors with 2 or 3 milligrams strength. The nicotine and the flavor are long-lasting, and Zippix has helped countless people kick the bad habits, and they are bad habits. Zippix toothpicks are FDA registered. Their customer service is second to none. It is one of the most cost-effective alternatives. Also, check out their B12 and caffeine toothpicks. See for yourself why so many people have switched to Zippix toothpicks. You can only get Zippix online. Quitting has never been easier with Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Go to zippix.com, get 10% off with the code PACMAN10 at checkout. The link is down below.